with 20, 30,000 people, every single day or every other day, that's a lot harder to vet. I mean, you're like the Bush events in 2004 never got beyond 3, 4, maybe 5, 600 people, but they were all pretty small. They weren't tens of thousands of people because of that reason.
We're watching here a scuffle. We're watching a scuffle here between the pro supporters of Trump and the opposition. I don't know what it's all about, but when you can just look at the pictures we're looking at, this is a fight, a street fight, basically, with very strong emotions on both sides. And these people are within spitting distance of each other, and they're yelling at each other. I've seen a couple of people give the finger to each other. They clearly want to antagonize each other. This isn't a group of people on either side that wants to be friendly. They're both very angry here. And you're seeing the people forming the arm locking themselves so they can't be thrown out. There's some tactics being used here. This is pretty ugly, and it looks like this is going to be the norm. Jonathan, looks like it's going to be the norm from now on if Trump keeps holding these events.
Let's hope not, Chris. One of the fundamental rights in America that we all enjoy is the right to peaceably assemble. And I think Donald Trump has been assembling, but his rallies have not been peaceable, and the people inside them have not been peaceable. And again, we're seeing this natural outgrowth, I think, which is scary. It's frightful for American politics, and frankly, it's not politics. What we're looking at is something that you might see in a third world country. America's better than this.
Yeah, and let me go back to Dina, because we're looking at this African-American guy being hauled away here. What he's doing is simply yelling, and he's ripping up apparently some kind of pamphlet. But this is a very emotional thing, because I think what's going on here is the protesters believe that the people there for Trump are against them and their interests, whether Hispanic or minority of some other group. They think that everyone there is a Trump person, therefore the enemy. It looks like, look at these faces of people, the way they're yelling at each other.
Chris, I think that this really shows that there are Americans on both sides of this issue who are very angry. And, it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking to see these images of people, being pulled away. All of this is, we don't want to see this at an American rally for the front runner for the GOP nomination. I think that what we have to do is tempers have to be calmed. People have to be people's voices have to be heard, but I think that at these rallies right now, Donald Trump has a great opportunity to show himself, and I do believe that he's a leader, and I think that most of the people at these rallies are not racist. They're not people who want to see this type of violence, and Donald Trump has a great opportunity. He has said things, done things. He's the Teflon Don. This will be his undoing if he is not able to get it under control. He's been able to survive the criticism from the media, the everything that he said about women, Muslims, everything. He's been able to survive it, and he's actually even risen in the polls. But this will be his undoing if he's not able to control it. But I believe that he's a leader and that he can control it, and because most of the people who are at these rallies are not. I mean, these are people who are excited about America. Many of these people have never voted. They've never been engaged in the political process. That in and of itself is very exciting. So I think that Donald Trump and his team can, right this ship and make everyone feel welcomed at these rallies, and that is what should happen. He's the deal maker. He can do it, and I have every confidence that he can.
I'm wondering, Jay, put this in historic terms. I think this is going downhill, because I think once people watch this on TV like this, the people that don't mind being in a rough situation like this will start showing up with greater incidents. Some people like this kind of action, and the calmer, scarier people will not show up, but the people who are a little ready for some trouble will start showing up. And this could get much worse than this.
Absolutely, Chris. No, it could easily. I mean, look, it's the whole beginning of when you have peaceful protests. The first sort of true believers come out, but then right after that, there's always the second wave of the anarchists, the people who start throwing bombs, start throwing Molotov cocktails, and those people who just want to incite chaos. And that's when things get really, really dangerous. And I think it doesn't also help when you have the candidate himself, when these protesters are going on, egging the crowd on to be violent, saying to the press, egging violence against the press. Just this week, the White House Correspondents Association sent a letter saying how worried and disturbed they were at his language encouraging violence against the media. And so, I mean, what he needs, and he keeps saying he's a uniter, he's a unifier. And if that's really true, then he needs to be able to talk to and calm and unify and bring these people into the fold and not have total outright chaos in his events like this.
Yeah. Jonathan, look at the crowd here with me. I mean, I don't want to make any generalizations, but it doesn't surprise you who you see here. I mean, minorities are very upset about the way this guy describes minorities. I mean, it's not just a rapist, but the word bum. Look at this. Look at this. There is a classic standoff with a guy with a flag. Another guy probably doesn't like what the guy's saying. And here we go again. Looks like another arrest, perhaps. Look at this. Judge for yourself. I wonder if they're going to just let this go on. I mean, people are not leaving. They're not, as we say in the police world, dispersing. They're staying here. And it's like both sides seem to be interested in watching what happens next or getting more engaged and more into a scuffle here. Dina, you're thinking a lot about this, I know. And we're watching it. You don't need reporting on this. You can see everything yourself from the TV screen.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. It really is. You know, I think one thing that's great and exciting about
Look at this. Look at that. A guy just started yelling at a guy in his face, and he took a slug at him. I mean, not everybody's going to engage in Oxford-style debating here, especially when you're practically spitting somebody's face. You are encouraging trouble here, back and forth here. You can see it. This is close engagement here. I don't know how the police figured out how to stop this. I do not know unless they empty the room.
It doesn't seem like there are a whole lot of police, actual Chicago police, on scene there. That we see one on the screen. A lot of it with like the private security before that. Now, I'm not going to suggest that the Chicago police are always the best solution to violence. History does not necessarily suggest that, but somebody's got to get control of that room.
Well, now they're starting to escort people or encourage them to file out of the room, and not everybody's going to want to leave. Unfortunately, the people that don't like violence will be leaving, and those that don't mind it will be there, continuing to be there. This is
Chris,
not